Hello and welcome to the Ministry of Magic. What does it truly take to change the future for the better? Is there a formula that we can demystify the process of building a better future? My name is Arif Gilani. I am the author and the reader of the book, The Ministry of Magic. This is the Mountains Are Calling series, simple strategies that can revolutionize your life. Here in this book and in this introduction, we will talk about some strategies to create an extraordinary life. We will also talk about the laws that govern the brain function, as I have personally been through a hit and run accident and a total memory loss where I have recovered from. We will also discuss habits to build superior physical and mental health, especially in the face of the pandemic crisis and COVID-19 that we face. We will also talk about leadership think tank. After all, you are the leader of your life, your family, and your business. With that introduction, let's begin. Introduction. If you let people's perception of you dictate your behavior, you will never grow as a person. But if you leave yourself open to experience, despite what others may think, then you will learn to grow. The aim of this book is to reveal the possibility for personal growth and the attainment of your most intimate desires for a planned and organized life. A mentor of mine said, "Science is organized knowledge, while wisdom is organized life." Completing the lessons in this book will help you organize your life according to your own principles. I have had the privilege to learn from the wisdom and the experiences of many mentors and coaches where I have applied these principles in my own life. When the pandemic lockdown happened, I started to organize these ideas because I felt that I owed something to those who follow me, my children, my family, my community, my country, and my nation should be aware of the wisdom to live an organized life. Those who have given me the inspiration to live a phenomenal life and pursue my own passions should have the benefit of the research that I have done so painstakingly. The journey I began wasn't easy, but it has been worth every challenge that I have faced and overcome. I also feel that Canada, the country that I love and admire so much, must be represented from my own unique perspective. The Canadian values of peace, harmony, tolerance, respect, cooperation, and kindness must be spread throughout the world. My goal is to equip you with the skills to handle the crisis of life and to develop the abilities to create your own peace of mind and personal freedom. The freedom to choose your own path despite tragedy, loneliness, disaster, and any other disappointing moments of life that requires a certain mindset that we will discuss here. We all face challenges and struggles in our lives, but how we respond to them is what makes the difference. When COVID-19 crippled the world, having been through two near-death experiences, I thought about authoring a book about mindset and manifestation in the face of uncertainty we all faced. I asked myself, what does it truly take to change the future for the better? Is there a formula that we can demystify the process of building a better future? The desire to revolutionize one's life in the middle of crisis may sound absurd, but that is what building an organized life requires. In the age of the illiterate, ignorance is spreading effortlessly, but in the age of information, ignorance is only a choice. We need to stop this plague that has contaminated the lives and consciousness of multitudes of people. I am not naive to the fact that most people never read another book after they finish their formal education. It is sad that even in a country like Canada, the majority of people would only read books and manuals related to their work, and only if it is required by their company or workplace. In other parts of the world, most people don't even read one single book for the rest of their lives after getting a job or graduating from school. Making a lifestyle change could be hard, especially when you're stuck living in the middle of war in a third world country. When I was 13 years old and lived in the middle of Iran-Iraq war, my brother handed me a translated copy of a book called Uncle Tom's Cabin. When I was done reading the book, I fell in love with the concept of Canada. One night, after finishing the book, I wrote in my notebook, "One day I will live in Canada and write books." I was not aware of the laws discussed in this book that later I discovered, but I was inspired to make a change in my life. It seemed like an impossible dream for a teenage boy from a war-torn small village in the most geopolitically sensitive region in the world. Few years later, when I finally made Canada my permanent home, I read other books about personal development, mind power, and manifestation, where I realized that everyone has a subconscious mind that guides our actions and directs our paths in life. After a quarter century of research, experiment, and world travel, when the COVID-19 pandemic shocked the world, I asked myself, what can I do to bring hope, wisdom, and a positive message through this new awakening? John Maxwell, a leadership mentor, says, when there's hope in the future, there's power in the now. I know everyone has the power to transform their lives now. I have personally met with many challenges in life besides surviving the war, refugee camps, and years of homelessness. Yet, eventually, I was able to build my life and business, traveling the world and living in many first world countries, including Canada, United States of America, Sweden, and Australia, to mention a few here. I have seen both sides of the world. It's good, bad, and the ugly. I'm also familiar with the opportunities the New World represents. We are always most powerfully positioned to serve the people whom once we were in their position. I feel that there are many people in the situations that I have experienced in my life. Therefore, I am here to challenge you to put these principles to the test and experiment the results you experience. What if, what if you could predict the future by creating your own identity? What if we could prepare ourselves today for a better tomorrow? What if we planned every day of our lives while enjoying the now? Friends and family say that you tell a lot of great stories, but allow me to remind you that the story you tell yourself about yourself is the most important story you will ever tell. Creating a narrative from the events of your life brings clarity to life. It helps you understand how you became you. We do not always realize that we are the authors of our own stories. You can change the way you tell your story. Your life is not just a list of events that happen. You can plan, edit, interpret, and retell your story, even if you are constrained by the facts of life. I want to sell you on the idea of the better version of your story through a vision that we can craft together through this writing. I have also recorded the steps to follow so they can help you create your own ideal life as I share parts of mine. I wanted to author a book with the formula with which anyone can use to reinvent themselves and manifest their dreams. I have also recorded some personal past experiences as a proof of the wisdom shared here. Most of this book is based on my own personal findings and the application of the wisdom and philosophies of mentors and teachers mentioned here. If you could adopt some ideas and apply them to your own life, the purpose of this writing would have been served. Principles shared in this book have the potential to change many lives. I have read hundreds of books on life transformation and personal growth. I know when I have my hands on a good book. That is when I enjoy. Well, that is enjoyable and transformative from the beginning to the end. I wanted to author such a book. The internet has made it possible to connect with unlimited number of people and to make a bigger impact today. Life presents challenges to all of us. That is a part of our journeys, and we must acquire the skills to learn how to navigate through them safely. Oftentimes, parents, politicians enter their roles unprepared for the task ahead. They're expected to have acquired the fundamental skills, knowledge, and insight into the hierarchy of human needs before they are entrusted with this significant responsibility. If we as a society can take such a risk, then each of us as individuals could take the responsibility to build our own lives based on proven scientific knowledge and shared testimonials. The aim of this book is to prepare you for such an undertaking. The fact is that most people wait for disease, trauma, diagnosis, and tragedy when they reach the lowest point of their lives to make their minds up to change. The message of this book is why wait? If you could start a process of progressive change today, you should. The fact is that no one is coming to save you, so you need to be the difference in an indifferent world. We change under different circumstances. We change in the state of joy and inspiration. We could change, we could be forced to change in the state of pain and suffering, or we can learn to change in our current state. Change is the only constant in this world, and we are in a new era of information. In the age of information, ignorance is only a choice made by those who are unaware. We do not need a doctor, a teacher, a priest, a rabbi, a minister, or a governor to obtain information any longer. Technology has enabled all of us to access information that was not available before. So people all over the world are taking their powers back. There's a new movement of awareness that we all need to join. Technology has made it affordable for all of us to research anything we want to learn. We can learn something new anytime we decide to pursue a new direction or choose to change the course of action. When we learn new things, we are making new synaptic connections in our brain using more of our brain power. In fact, learning is making new connections by activating the dormant cells in our brains. Research shows that when people learn one new bit of information and concentrate on it for an hour, they double the number of their connections in their brain. If we do not review current information, if they do not talk or think about it, those connections prune apart within hours or days of learning it. In other words, we forget what we don't practice. You have heard that repetition is the mother of learning. Therefore, the lack of it would be the loss of information and the weakening of our brain powers. The aim of this book is to provide you with some new learning opportunities which become installed in the circuitry of our brains that reveal new ways of doing things. The question is, what do you do with new information? If we can take the current information and personalize it, demonstrate it, and apply it to initiate some new behavior, if we can get our behaviors to match our intentions, actions, and thoughts, then change becomes automated. If we can make our mind and body to work together, we are creating new experiences. That is where change starts to happen. New experiences enrich the philosophical circuits in our brain, laying down networks of neurons that the minute those neurons string into place, the brain makes a chemical, and that chemical is what creates a feeling or an emotion. Good or bad feelings are the results of the chemicals that the brain produces. The moment you feel grateful, inspired, or unlimited because of some new experience, we are teaching our body chemically to understand what the mind has understood intellectually. Knowledge is intelligence for the mind, and experience is education for the body. When we are embodying the truth of this philosophy for a moment, the body and the mind are aligned to create new existence, preparing us for a new destiny. If we begin to think differently, make new choices, and do things in a new way, we can create new experiences. Creating new experiences can change our generic destiny. Thought, the chemical, and our brain process. Creating new experiences can change our genetic destiny. The chemicals our brain produces can inspire us to act in the new direction every day. If we learn to do this once, then we should be able to do it again. And if we can repeat an experience over and over again, we begin to condition our mind and body to work together as one. When you do something so many times that your body knows how to do as well as your mind understands, it becomes second nature. It gets easier, it becomes familiar, it gets automated, so we can begin to master the philosophy of change. For instance, waking up early in the morning could be a challenge for those who love to sleep in. But once you discipline your body to wake up early, as soon as your mind is awake, the body follows. That is how new routines are built. Do you think human creativity matters? I love poetry, but most people do not spend a lot of time thinking about poetry. We have busy lives. We are really not concerned about poetry until someone close to us dies. We go to a funeral. Trauma happens. Somebody breaks our heart or something unpredictable happens to us. All of a sudden, we are desperate to make sense of it all, thinking, has anybody felt this bad before? We think of poetry to relate the experience to someone or something outside of our own experience. The reverse may also be true. You meet somebody and you fall in love, your heart explodes, you love them so much you cannot even see straight. You cannot get them out of your mind. You feel desperate to express yourself, thinking, did anybody felt this way before? Those are the moments when art of creativity is not a luxury anymore. It is sustenance. We seek refuge in our own creativity to give meaning to how we feel. Writing is sustenance for me. I love expressing new and unique ideas through the written word. Writing is therapy, and it is transcendence to me. This book is the labor of love and deep passion and understanding of our deepest of the human desires and needs. We are here on this star in space to help one another, to understand each other's pains, and to share our pleasures, to uplift each other through shared wisdom. Our deepest passion is what we love to do without expecting any compensation. If we could find our deepest passions, develop them, stick with them long enough, and learn to how to adjust to varying circumstances of life, we could be on our path to fulfill our major definite purpose in life. Our purpose is some major hope or a course of main pursuit in life that anyone can find and pursue. After we are born into this life and survive our childhood, of course, we are encouraged to thrive through life, to be this, that, and the other. We are taught to give meaning we are taught to give life meaning through our careers and experiences and express ourselves through what we do. We are not taught how to find our passions and pursue what makes us happy, which is one of the keys to successful living. It would be most useful to find out what we are here for at an earlier age and what to do with the rest of our lives. It is to say, the sooner we find our purpose, the sooner we would find happiness in our lives. To develop a sharp vision, constructing an intentional course of action in the direction of an ideal future would almost guarantee the best outcomes in our lives. When a person begins to select a new idea of the future and emotionally embraces what the future feels like, we begin to feel an elevated emotion because we are so caught up in our vision, in our inner vision. What you feel in, when you feel an emotion like gratitude, inspiration, or motivation, in that instant, the heart starts to respond differently. It acquires a more rhythmic pattern. It's in harmony with the mind. Living by the emotion of fear, resentment, frustration also causes the heart to beat in irregular patterns. Unfortunately, most people spend a lot of time consumed by these stress indicators. Those are the survival mechanisms, not pastimes or self-consumption routines. The question is, can we teach our, ourselves how to build and rebuild more coherent brain function? Can we regulate the heart patterns and how it responds to what happens to us? The answer is yes. That is absolutely possible. Throughout this book, you will learn how to respond to what happens to us instead of reacting to the circumstances of life. Thank you for listening and watching. And in the next episode, we will go through chapter 1, where you find your why. Thank you and have a wonderful day.